Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show, Monday afternoon, morning here on the West Coast, and we're looking at the actual bets that I have for today, bringing a couple of them to you. Got some same game parlays. We're gonna have a little fun today. I did have one bet that came in the video I put out last night, Sunday night, ahead of this slate, which I'm doing each and every day that we put out these videos. One the night before, projecting what we're looking at for the next day, and then on the day of games, coming out with this type of video right here where we actually make those plays. So let's get right into it. I should mention we are 5-1 coming off of Sunday's awesome day there. Felt really good about last night, man. It went well, obviously. We are now 21-9 in the last week of betting. So we'll kick off a new week here with some good stuff. 6 games on the slate. Quick reminder to subscribe to the page if you would, and like the video if you are enjoying what you're getting, so I can keep bringing these things to you each and every day. The back-to-back stuff here, if you did see the other video, this was on there as well. You know that Charlotte is playing on the second leg of their back-to-back. So are the Clips at Atlanta, and so are the Raptors at the Pellies. The Nets are playing the Warriors here tonight, and then they play Dallas tomorrow, and then Dallas is playing Philly tonight, and then obviously in Brooklyn tomorrow night. All right, first bet that I have here is in that Clippers and Hawks game, and I'm really pumped to talk about Terrence Mann. Really awesome player. Love watching him play. Obviously, he comes off the bench. He has started a couple times as of late. More importantly for this one, it's the second leg of a back-to-back, and shout out my co-host on the Coast to Coast podcast, Nate Weitzer. Say that 5 times fast. He found this Terrence Mann stuff on the no rest situations for him, where it does make a ton of sense that Ty Lue is bringing in his slightly younger, more energetic backup point guard, shooting guard, small forward, whatever Terrence Mann ends up being, because he's very versatile. He ends up getting a bunch more minutes, 3 more minutes per game. So we're going to take him over 7.5 points, minus 136 on FanDuel. That's 1 unit right there. Then the next bet should actually say half a unit. Apologies. Over 8.5 points. You can get that at even money on DraftKings. So DraftKings did not offer the 7.5 points anymore because they started to raise the prop. So they put it to 8.5, but you get better odds. So I'm going to take that for a half a unit. Apologies again. That should say half a unit for the even money. And then 12 plus points is what we call a ladder. That is 0.2 units that we're putting down. So to be very clear, if you are a bettor who bets normally $10 a bet, that's your average play. 0.2 units would be 120, right? 1/5 of what that $10 is. So $2, right? It would be 20%. The 0.2 is just 0.2 compared to what your normal unit size is. If you're a bettor who normally plays about $10, a unit size of 1 is $10. A unit size of 0.2 is $2, and so on and so forth. So that's how I'm laddering it up for myself here, because Terrence Mann gets more minutes on no rest, and he gets more points on no rest as a result, because he's taking more shots as a result. He averages 11.5 a game in the 7 games he's played on no rest, getting basically 10 field goal attempts a game and 4 3-point attempts a game. So if you're telling me he needs 8 points on 10 field goal attempts, happy to take that. On the season, you compare it, 7.7 points per game, right? 4 less, 3 less field goal attempts, at least 1 less 3-point attempt that he takes. So he's just not as nearly as much when it's not this no rest situation, because you have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and Russ Westbrook and James Harden, etc. Now you've got a situation where we might actually see Kawhi or Harden or PG sit out in this game. I'm not trying to predict that right now. They're all still need to see what that exact injury report says for the Clippers. Still hasn't come out yet. So I'm not sure if they are or not, but if they are not, this is a wonderful bet, obviously, because then a ton more usage goes towards Terrence Mann. When those dudes sit right now, you're talking about him being in the top 3 options alongside Russell Westbrook, and whichever one of those other guys, like let's say Harden and or PG doesn't play, Terrence Mann's back out there a lot more. You'll see some more Norman Powell too. I believe he's still he'll be playing as well. But for Terrence Mann, his low prop numbers, which are already out, we really like, because he has started a number of games too. So when guys are starters, you get their props to come out from these books a little bit earlier. All right, bet number 2 here. We're looking at a couple of same game parlays, and we've got a similar situation to what we just saw with the Terrence Mann bets. On FanDuel, we can take a same game parlay that gives us minus 137 back on our money for Cam Thomas to get 20 plus and Nick Claxton to get 10 plus points, right? Now, that's not offered the same way on DraftKings. You get a little bit better odds here for doing that on FanDuel, but on DraftKings, you can also take Nick Claxton to get 12 points. That's not an option on FanDuel. They offer these alternate point totals at like 10 points, 15 points, 20 points. DraftKings, you'll get some more of those even numbers, 12 points, 18 points, depending on who it is, right? So I'm going to take both of these and put a full unit and a half on the combination of the two. For Claxton, you see the difference here is Claxton gets 10 points on FanDuel, 12 points on on DraftKings rather for that same game parlay. So we're putting two of these together. And that is just for the sake of I like that number for Claxton, and I really like the 20-point number for Cam Thomas. So for Claxton, Golden State can't defend the rim. We've known that. Continue to know it. They actually don't get that many shots taken against them because you can get whatever you want. So they're actually one of those teams where you can get shots out on the perimeter and you can get shots around the rim, and that's the majority. But also they give up a lot of mid-range. They've been playing a lot really fast, and they've had a bottom 5 defense in the league for the last 10 games or so. So that's going to be what it is, right? For them on defense, there's going to be holes everywhere. One of the biggest holes is right where Nick Claxton plays. Guys like Cam Thomas and Mikal Bridges, even Spencer Dinwiddie, they're going to be able to get into the lane. I talked about this in the video where I was looking at the projections for this game last night. Golden State, one of the worst isolation defenses in the league, bottom 5 in terms of allowing field goal attempts and makes and percentage as a result. So that's why we love an isolation team like the Nets to be able to score against this Golden State Warriors team because their individual defenders are going to get blown by. Once they get there, Nick Claxton is your lob man, and that's how come he's had so many points in the last couple games. Even in the last 3, although he's only gone over this total in 2 of his last 3, it was the last 2, including 1 this season. And I continue to think that the points are going to be there in this game once again. So for Nick Claxton, the 10 points is easy because he's just shooting exactly where they're giving everything up. About 6 field goal attempts per game inside the painted area. Actually, roughly about 7.5 in the painted area because that includes outside of the restriction area, right? So about 5 to 9 feet from the basket inside the paint, or inside the paint inside of 5 feet. That's where Nick Claxton lives. That's where the Dubs are just giving up whatever you want. It's not the amount of shots that they give up, it's the percentage. So if Claxton's going to get the 9-ish field goal attempts rather that he's taken against the Dubs in the last couple games he's played them, 9 field goal attempts, 12.5 points, shooting 70% from the field because they allow 75% inside 5 feet, which is the worst in the league for the Dubs. Then you got to like Claxton's ability to finish right around the rim and put those lobs down. For Mr. Cam Thomas here, microwave scorer, Golden State allows the most field goals made inside of right around 5 to 9 feet. So right in that right in that painted area. That's not in the restricted area, right? So the restricted area is right underneath the basket within about 5 feet of it. There's a little half circle there that indicates restricted area because you can't take a charge if you're inside of that area. Well, Cam scores right outside of that, in between the free throw line and right there inside of 5 feet or so. That's where he lives, man. It's either that or a mid-range, and that's what the Dubs give up. Most mid-range points, second most field goal attempts from the mid-range. That they've been giving up in their last 10 for the Dubs, and then also just allowing a ton of threes above the break. 4th most above the break threes that they've given up in their last 10 games for the Dubs. Cam Thomas it's just where he lives. It's like they created a hot zone for where Cam Thomas shoots, and they go, these are all the places that the Warriors are the worst at defense. Just look at the floor of where he's shooting and look at the floor of the field goal percentage against the Warriors, right? And it's very easy to see that Cam Thomas is the exact, it's like build me a dude who can score against the Dubs. Boom, we're talking about Cam Thomas. So if you want to take the 25, go for it. He's gotten 25 or more in the last 5, all of them. He's gotten 25 in 3 of those, though. So he's bumping right up against 24.5 points. He dropped 41 on this team last time. So, like, if you want to start taking alt totals for Cam Thomas and being like, I want to ladder him up to 30 points and 35 points and like, have at it for real, because, like, it could happen. And if you want to play a little bit of a lottery ticket where it's like the odds are not good, but there's a reason that they pay out so well. It's because they're not good. But it has happened before. So because we've seen it happen before, it does make it worth your while. I'm playing this a little conservatively. We've been on a hot streak lately. I'm not trying to tempt the fates, right? And I'm just tempt fate really, and to get the betting gods. I just really want to take what I think, continue to just grind out what I think is good bets for one of them for even money, right? So, all right, final bet that I have here on the day for you. It's 3 that I'm bringing you today and 1 that I brought you last night. We'll talk about that in 1 sec. Klay Thompson, under 18.5 points. I was really ready to bring this to you at 19.5, and as I was putting it into the video, Klay Thompson points dropped to 18.5, which is weird because Andrew Wiggins is out. But, like, whatever. It's not weird because obviously I wanted to play it, so other people were looking at under 19.5 points for Klay as well. I am going to still take it at 18.5. It's now even money, so because we get better juice, I'm happy with that. I'll take 0.5 units to put on it, though. Once I lose that value that I saw at the 19.5, 18 is still right on the cusp. I have him at about 17, 18 points, to be honest with you. So I was okay with an under at him getting, for him to not get 20. but now we've got to make sure he doesn't get 19. So I'm just putting the half a unit on it. Brooklyn has been limiting shooting guards to the 9th fewest points per game on the season and over the last couple of weeks and all the rest. Like, they're just consistently limiting shooting guards in a top 10 fashion. And really over the last 10, they've been locking up exactly where Klay wants to shoot from, 3-point and mid-range, especially the mid-range. Klay is taking the most mid-range shots of anybody on the Warriors. I know there's been conversations between he and other members of the team and coaching staff that have been like, yo, if you don't have that 3-point shot, stop forcing it. You're not as good at shooting with a hand in your face. Your release isn't as quick. Your sidestep is certainly not as quick. So you can't really get away from the range of defenders who have long arms and can defend you, which is everybody on this Brooklyn Nets team. The problem is they keep putting Spencer Dinwiddie on him, and Dinwiddie sucks on defense. He's just not a good defender. Klay has been able to get open shots against him. I don't want to say it's a lack of effort, but that's all that defense is. And so somehow Klay keeps getting open. Someone's not fighting around screens. I'm not naming names. I'm just pointing out the guy who happens to guard Klay the most. That's Spencer Dinwiddie. So that does make you a bit nervous. But Klay's, like I said, shooting the most. MR doesn't stand for Mr. It's mid-range shots and corner threes on Golden State. And that's where Brooklyn is the best because they trap in the corners and they don't give you those corner threes. And they do get out on the wing very well as well, considering everybody is a Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson archetype of player that is just long and rangy and quick enough to get out on defenders that are on shooters who are slow, like Klay Thompson. So like I said at the bottom there, we caught a late number. So that's why I'm just putting the 0.5 units on it because I'm not getting ahead of this. I'm behind the curve now, but it was a bet I was already looking at and like. So, all right, let me run quickly through the summary of what we got today. We got 4.5 units out there to win 3.9, right? And so we've got Terrence Mann to get his over 7.5 points. We've got him to get 8+ points. And that should have, that should also have the 0.2 units that we're putting on Terrence Mann to go ahead and get 12+ points on DraftKings. That was a late ad, so I'll make sure that that's clear in the video here on the slide here. The same game parlay from Brooklyn, we got 2 of them. We've got Cam Thomas to get 20+ and Nick Claxton to get 10+. That gets us -139 there on FanDuel, full unit. And then the other same game parlay is with on DraftKings. So you have to go to the other book there to take Cam Thomas 20+ and Nick Claxton 12+. That's not offered in that same fashion on FanDuel. So that's why we did that there. And you can see the bet at the bottom. If you did check out the other video that came out last night because you're subscribed to that page, which I super appreciate, then you saw that Kyrie Irving got over 27.5 points in that one, or that I put a bet out there for him to get over 27.5 points. I thought Luka wasn't going to play. I was pretty confident. Seems like he's going to give it a go. Dude just keeps trying to come back, even though he said he heard a pop in his ankle. So I'm not sure how you come back from that so quickly. Whatever, maybe he's superhuman. So he's likely to play in this one, which does make me a little bit less, confident in the Kyrie bet as if he wasn't playing. I thought I was getting ahead of a good number that was going to shoot up to like 32.5 for Kyrie. But either way, I'm still like 27.5. That's why I still took it with a full unit, is because even though I was taking it heavily predicated on Luka not playing, I still thought it was a good bet if Luka does play. So we'll leave it in there because I already bet it. All right, let's take a quick look at how we did on Sunday. Look at all those winners, man. 5-1. Everything came through to fruition except for Utah and Milwaukee over. Milwaukee just stopped scoring come the second half, which was fine because we needed Utah to win. And it was much more likely that they were going to win than that game was going to go over when you had like a 120 or 112 score at, total at halftime. Not quite enough. But the beautiful thing there is the 4-0 on the props, 3.7 units up now on the year with those player props, which means we've climbed over 30 units, baby, on the player props. I was trying to do that before February hit, missed out because by a couple of days. So February 4th marks the day that we did climb over 30. I don't want to lose it all. I want to keep it going. So, I want to keep that record going. We got 14.4 units on the season now that I am up since November because I really didn't start bringing you guys this stuff specifically like this until November hit. So that means 21-9 plus 9.9 over the last week. That's a very good week. We will take that each and every week if we can. But for now, that is all the time that I have for you guys. One more reminder, please subscribe to that page, like the video, and just as importantly, jump in the comments. There's a couple more that I got to respond to. A couple people asked me some questions. They had some thoughts about some plays on today. I will get back to you. If you did that in the other video, I'll hit you there. If you have more stuff to ask me here, hit me. I'll be online. I'll be on the Kyle Kerms show in from an hour and a half from now. That's 1 p.m. on the West Coast, 4 p.m. on the East Coast where most people live, I suppose. So make sure you check that out as well. Kyle Kerms does a great job, and I love jumping on his live stream each and every day that I can. So continue to follow along. Appreciate you guys very much. And until I see you next, happy betting.